Well, hello there. We're back again. This time seems to work. Um, we'll see how it goes. Well, glad to be here. Glad to share a little bit of wisdom and a story and a blessing. That's the whole point of this. It's just to kind of be an everyday thing. I don't know how quick or how slow it will grow, but I think everyone requires a blessing. Everyone enjoys a story. So we'll get to those things. Let's start with a piece of wisdom. The truth that we are fearfully and wonderfully made sometimes gets obscured by all of the things that we get told. In a sense, they get written on us. Yeah, God has already written into the very structure of who we are, our worth, not self-esteem. I don't really believe in that word. I don't need to be esteemed by anyone but God. And God has already written my worth into my very being. So instead of self-esteem, I have a worth code. That code is what I can do, what I'm doing right now. And he's written it in me in such a way that it's like life and breath. I have my moments, I have my days where I doubt that, but the truth is, it always comes back to here. I've had a few days where I was off from this, a few days where I was struggling with things, but I'm back. And I'm simply back because this is what I came to do, is to be there, to listen, to give what God gives me, and to pray. And that, of course, leads to teaching what I've heard. I just wish to encourage, strengthen, lift up. That's me. What are you? At your core, at your authentic self, not all the posing and the things that we may do, and we do them, let's face it. We all have an ego, we all have an id, we all have pride. Yet God works with us anyway. And He gave us a self-worth codex deep inside of us that no one else can walk away with because we are the only one that can do that in that way with that unique authenticity. Thoughts. Hope they encourage you. If you wish to get connected with me and just chat for a little bit, 15, half an hour, maybe more, who knows? That one will be completely without cost. You can do that by just reaching out to Eric at starthealing.me. That's it. Say it one more time, Eric at starthealing.me. Pretty easy to remember. And we'll keep working away here and figuring out how things work, like getting that so it sits up and it stays in the comments and stuff. Work in progress, isn't it? It's just like that story that we're in, Sanctuary. Some people would say, well, I'd like to keep on with the main line of this story. This is part of that, in a sense. Just like us, sometimes when we go to Sanctuary, as the emissary that just left Sanctuary, we go to leave. We go to rest, become strong, and enter the fray again, go into the war the enemy brings, and let others know that there is sanctuary in the God we serve. So we left it with the emissary, basically, the young lady blinking out, going somewhere, allowing God to guide. So what happened? What was her first encounter? Let's find out. The drive is, as she says to herself, is set up so that it works on the principles of I go where God wishes me to go. And so right now I'm sitting in a system that looks pretty war torn. Most of the planets are dead or dying. There's one in the corner there that seems to be still alive and somewhat thriving. That's where I'm drawn to. So she activates the in-system drive, and she's very simple with her tech. This is my blink drive. This is my in-system drive. Makes her way over to the planet, who automatically hails her and asks, what is her intention? And she said, I'm just here to talk about sanctuary. And they seem excited about this, the ones on the radio. They ask her to um, come down, and she does. She'd already figured out that even though her ship was small, she wasn't ever going to take her ship down into an area where she didn't know what was going on. She knew God would keep her safe. But the ship had a lot of choice, including a way of getting her out of the situation that she got into. So with a little prayer, she gets into the little buggy. That's what she calls it. Planetary buggy. And down it goes. It arrives at the coordinates. And she sees a very horrendous sight. People in the worst case scenario, standing close to the landing site is a being that looks completely opposite to that. The minute she departs the buggy, he walks over to her and he goes, yeah, he goes, we won. As you can see, this is what's left of what fought us. They're kind of in the way here. We try to treat them. Well, we don't know really how to treat them. I mean, we are the winners. And she thinks for a minute and she goes, but where is the grace? Yes, you won. You nearly destroyed your whole system. Well, this planet works. Yes, you do realize billions died. Yes, but we won. Okay. She says to herself, this is not what I came to rescue. He flourished his hand. He said, there's about 100,000 here. To make sure they can't rise back up, but their world burned a long time ago. in a system far from here. We won. Yes, you keep saying that. You are an emissary, yes, of sanctuary, a place where people can go and rebuild, find their way back through the great God of heaven. Well, we don't believe in God. That's all right. But you wish these people to be moved somewhere other than your world. Oh, yes, we are rebuilding slowly. It's kind of a mess here too, but these are the vanquished. Ah, she thought it was good to let him know that the biosphere on this world was mostly finished. It would take thousands of years to rebuild. And from the looks and from the scans, there's no ships left. Is that correct? Yeah, we can't go anywhere. But we won. Yes, I get this. You keep saying that. How many of you are alive? Oh, at least a million or more. And we will rebuild. I get that. You do know that the biosphere is wrecked. Yes, yes, that happened in the war. We're working to fix that slowly. Again, another prayer to God that they never get off this world. And God says they won't. There's no minerals, no nothing here that they can use to build the type of ships they use for war. They're stuck, but they won. That's how they see it, so they don't care. So with a few pleasantries, basically dismisses the guy, and he's quite willing to go. He goes, "Oh, I don't have to stay here anymore." No, no, we will deal with these. We will give them a chance to go to sanctuary. How will you transport them? Well, that's up to me and God. But they will be gone, and you can have your world. That's what we wish, just to be left alone. We will build ships and go out again. She smiled, knowing what God had said to her that that isn't ever going to happen. What will happen to this bunch, she doesn't know. That isn't what she was called here for. She walks over and she finds a person that is trying to help those that are there. It's very selfless. And that's incredible, considering what they've gone through. And she goes, I'm an emissary from a sanctuary zone where you can go and live and be. It'll be better than here because there will be people to help you. There's no one here to help you. He agreed. He said, this isn't our home. This is our prison. That's basically how they treat us. This is the most uninhabitable part of the planet. So how will you move us? There's about 110,000 of us left. Well, we will consult with God and those that are going to help you at the other end. He goes, we do like the weather changes and things. That's kind of like our world. Our world was a bit chaotic, and apparently that was an affront to these people. So they started a war, which we could not win. We're not warriors. We're not sure what we are now. We were builders, creators. And I think that the God of everything protects us, although this is a very bad place to be. Well, like weather change is not chaos, which is what's here. She goes, well, if you wish, I will ask those at Sanctuary and we will move you according to the will of the great God of heaven. And she goes, is that what you wish? And they go, oh, yes, please. So she says, well, let me talk with them and see what we can do. And she goes back to her buggy and she sits in it for a few minutes and she goes, I have about 100,000 people here that require to come to Sanctuary. Can we do that? The lady goes, oh, yeah, no problem. Just gather a few people together and we'll bring them here. She said, from what I've heard from what they've said and what they like, I think we can put them on the far side of this world with another group that likes that type of weather that's rebuilding as well, if they're okay with that. And she gets out of the buggy and goes back to the guy and she goes, we have a spot for you. There's a few people there already, maybe about 5 or 10,000 that are kind of rebuilding from something similar. You interested in going to that space? Well, how's the weather? He said. Well, it changes. Probably the most it changes on Sanctuary World one. That's the first one. Started with a city, moved to more cities, and then eventually those that were not into Sanctuary left. And then through God's grace, we ended up with a gate that protects the entire system. We have a lot of people following God and figuring it out. Always room for some more. And he goes, well, it's better than here, starving and dying, and that's what they really wish us to do. He said, but watch them. He said they never keep their word. She said, that's fine. So in about an hour, something amazing happens because four people get together and open a space for them to come. They walk through the gate. Some carried some help by the very emissary that found them with what magic she has. They eventually all disappear, every one of them. Their meager belongings, their history, their art, things that they had kept and hidden, all goes through the gate. The gate closes. At that moment, she hears a hum behind her, and she turns around to this guy who's now not alone and standing there with many weapons behind him in the hands of others like himself. He goes, we don't mind that you got rid of those, but we want your technology. And she goes, that's not going to happen. Well, we have the guns. We win. She goes, not this time. Well, you're not going to get near the buggy. And she goes, well, that's already gone. And the buggy just dissolved. Where'd he go? I said, only held together by the magic island. And she goes, and I'm out of here. Someone else may come and help you at some point. that you need to mature and grow. And with that, the ship above brings her home, and she leaves orbit immediately, blinking out of the way. Those that have walked through the gate meet the 10,000 or so that are already attempting to build there, and they go, I'm very good at building. We're good at making bread and food, and that's working, but the building, oh my, it's a mess. And the guy that had been talking with the emissary said, oh, don't worry, we're builders. It's not a lot of us. It's more than us, but maybe we can be friends. Maybe I can make food and you can make buildings that don't fall down and hurt the people that I already don't have enough of. They both kind of laughed about that and said, it's been a rough space where we are. I can tell. You need food. We have food. Just don't have shelter. Well, anything I would advise you to not move into, put it that way. Let's leave it there. Let's have a blessing. Let's have just a very simple blessing of joy and unexplainable peace and the abundance of God and the provision of God in a way that we may not understand. Just nourishment of all means, meaning more than just the coin or money, everything. And everything that that brush wishes to paint for you, that's in God's hands right now, according to his will and wish and according to yours. This can be. We come before you, Father, and the story is becoming interesting. It's fun, but it shows us things, doesn't it? That it's for each of us to see those things. You've made me what I am, a storyteller. And you decide how much of the story is told. I like being your voice. I like doing these things. And I just ask you to push back the enemy so that others hearing this can have those moments with you. Go deeper with you or find you, whatever they require, to begin that wonderful relationship or to go deeper. And we just leave all of these things in your mercy and grace. We ask for your courage and strength to continue. We look forward to the blessings that you will pour down on us. And we accept the lessons and we move through life. May your may the Holy Spirit guide us through everything, through the best path that you are lighting, Father. And so we say thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, standing in awe and honor, respect, allowing all glory to flow, Father, Spirit, Son, this is, and so this is. Amen. So when you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is well lit by God. Blessings.